Good morning everyone, and welcome to today's video. I'm Mary Felling. I'm a physical therapist and I've been in practice for over 30 years. The last 25 years I've specialized in an area called the John Barnes Myofascial Release approach to chronic pain. Today we're going to be working on a specific area that has an impact both on knee pain and hip pain. It's along the outside of the leg called the IT band. Let's get started. So for this technique today, for the IT band, I'm going to have you find a ball. You can either use a racquetball ball, tennis ball, something like this, or squishy ball. You want something that you can lie on and that creates enough sensation for you that you feel it. So for some of you, this might be too soft and you need to go to something harder. For others, this might be too hard and you can get enough sensation just by using a squishy ball. All right, so here we go. Here's what it looks like. You're going to lie on your side. You want to do both sides, so start on either side. I'm going to start on my right. Lie down and make sure you're comfortable, get your head supported, and all you're going to do is take the ball and you first want to find an area that's already tender, that's the most tender along the entire band on the outside of your leg. And yeah, I tend to be very tender either towards my knee or up towards my hip. So we're going to start, and this is really too much tender, so I'm going to start with the softball. All right, so go ahead and find your position, find that spot that gives you the most symptoms, tender, painful. It might burn, as long as you can stay relaxed. If you can't stay relaxed, then it's too much. Go to something softer. Some of you might just have to use a cloth that's rolled up. All right, so we're going to start our timer. If you're still looking for your sweet spot, just pause this video and then start it again, and you'll be in that 5-minute timing. All right, so in this position, just so you're not moving back and forth, you can take your opposite leg and put it down in front of you, and that'll help stabilize you. You can also put it just behind you and stabilize you if you feel you need it. So either one is fine, as long as you're feeling the tenderness on the outside of your leg. This is really good for those of you who are at the gym a lot, do squats and lunges side to side, forward and back. It really gives the IT band a workout. So if you're done with the workout and you are walking out and you feel your hip clicking or it's painful, this is a really good technique to help relieve that soreness, that exercise soreness, and to keep the IT band flexible so it doesn't become tight and become a future problem in the hip or your knee. For those of you who find that if you've been sitting for a while and you get up and your knees are sore, or every time you climb the stairs you hear a little clicking and your knees are sore, this is also what you want to be doing for this outside of the band, because it affects both the knee and the hip, because it runs back from the ilium, the hip bone, all the way down and then across into the tibia, the shin bone. I was inspired to do this one today because my daughter contacted me and she said, hey, I went out and I played some kickball with my office friends and now my knee is knocking every time I walk. So for her, this is what she needs to work on. And for those of you who have clicking and popping in the knee, this is great. This really helps. You probably will want to work further down towards your knee to help reduce the tension that it's creating into the knee. And what it's doing is just creating the tension on the patella, the kneecap, and it moves it just off its natural alignment a little bit, enough to click over one of the knuckles of the femur. It's a whole anatomy thing, but anyway. So while you're here, remember it's a minimum of 5 minutes in this position, because we're putting a mechanical energy into the body. So with myofascial release, myo means muscle, fascia is this big cobweb we have in our body. It runs from the top of our heads down to our feet, side to side and front to back. And it's a three-dimensional cobweb. And this cobweb surrounds, it supports, and it infuses everything in our system. So our muscles, ligaments, organs, brain, spinal cord, bones, nerves, blood vessels, everything has a sinewy cobweb within it and around it. Well, when we've had an injury, maybe from overuse, repetitive use, trauma, fell off your bike, and stress, just being a human being alive on this planet, when that happens, the fascia binds down like baling wire, curls under, and as it curls under, it can put up to 2,000 pounds of force per square inch and whatever's in its way. Well, all these muscles and tendons, etc., are pain sensitive, so they become painful and they lose their natural mobility. It's called a myofascial restriction. When you put mechanical energy into the body, what we're doing now, we're using the mechanical energy of compression. After 5 minutes, it starts an electrical flow, and this electrical flow moves through the fascia. When it comes to those areas of restriction, the myofascial restrictions, it softens, it releases, and opens them, so reducing pain and improving mobility in the area. The most important thing about all of this is the 5 minutes. If you've been in the position a minute or two and you have to go get a drink of water or go to the bathroom and you come back, the clock will start over. You can't pick up where you were. So it has to be 5 minutes uninterrupted. And when you're in the position, you can feel it and you're saying, oh my goodness, I can feel that going up into my hip. I do feel that it's connected into these other areas. That's great. You can stay there longer. You can stay 10 minutes if you want. You're feeling for releases when you're in this position, and a release feels like less pain. You might feel some warmth. You might feel ease in the tissue. It's not as hard. You might have a memory come up. You might just have a sensation of well-being. All of those are signs of releases. And you're looking to get 2 releases with each time. You saw me move my leg. If you don't have enough pressure on the area you're working on, just bring your other leg on top and it'll create more weight and pressure down in there. All right, so we're at the end of our 5 minutes. You can go ahead and continue on if you'd like. This is a minimum of 5 minutes, and I'm going to go in and show you a second technique for the side of your hip. All right, so we're ready for the second technique for the IT band release. If you have a strap, something like this, you want to use that. If not, just use a belt from an old robe. It's fine. Anything that has a piece of cloth that has enough staying power in it. It can't be a stretchy material. It does have to have a solid feel to it. So you're going to be lying on your back again, and when you go into and out of these positions, move slowly, because this might be the first time that you've done something like this. You never know how your body's going to react, especially if you're really sore. Take it easy on the first couple of times, see how your body reacts. All right, so in this position, for this technique rather, you're going to lie on your back, and you're going to put the strap around your foot. It's nice to cross it because it gives you a little bit more support. And in this position, the leg is relaxed. The only reason I'm in this position, I can keep the foot up, is because the strap's holding the weight of my leg and my arms are taking the weight of my leg. If you have shoulder problems, do this right on the floor next to a couch, because we're going to be bringing the leg across the body and you're going to be relaxing here. And if the weight of your leg is too much, you could just relax it on the couch while you're holding. All right, here we go. The timer is starting. And again, we're doing in 5 minutes. Remember, it's that minimum of 5 minutes in the position to help get that electrical flow going, which then helps the myofascial release to occur. So in this position, I'm also doing one more thing. So you can see I'm holding on to the strap. I've guided my leg across my body, and I feel a nice pull here. And I also feel it back in my hip. So what you're feeling for is a pull anywhere along the outside of your leg. If you're in this position, you go, no, I just feel it on the inside of my leg and the back of my hip. That's probably needs some work. Then just play around with it. Lower it a little bit. See if you can direct more of the stretch here. Or you might need to bring it up a little bit to get more of the pulling and sensation on your leg. So that's the art of this. There is an art and a science to myofascial release. And this is part of the art, just focusing in with the technique where you need it. And now I really have a good stretch right down at my knee and right up here. So I'm going to hang out here. If I had shoulder problems, if I knew I was compromised maybe in my neck, I would make sure to lie down next to a couch and have my leg here. And while you're in this position, you're elongating, just with ounces. You're just thinking about elongating through the heel of your foot. Doesn't matter which position I have my foot in, but you want to also have just that little elongation. That's what makes it a myofascial release as opposed to a stretch position. So in this position, as it elongates, I'm looking for the feeling of a release. What's a release? Well, a release feels like there's less pain in the area. Maybe there's some warmth coming up. I might be in this position and go, oh my goodness, I feel this coming up my back, or I feel it going across to my other hip. Some of you may feel it going down behind your leg and into your ankle. That's great. That means you've got a stretch on a fascial restriction that has been causing tension through the fascia into these other areas. How is that possible? Well, the fascia is made from one single piece of material. So just like my grandmother could knit a sweater from one skein of yarn, and that whole sweater was connected because it was a single skein of yarn, one single piece. It's the same with the fascia in our body. The fascia that runs down my leg and to my foot is just a different length of the same fascia that's running through my abdominal cavity, my chest, through my arms, head, and neck and back. So what that means is, let's say I had on one of my grandma's sweaters and I snagged it somewhere. And that snag now, because it's all knit from one piece of material, has created a strain through the rest of the sweater. You could see, hopefully you can see, that this is pulling, the snag in my shirt, we'll pretend that's my grandma's sweater, is pulled across my chest up to my other shoulder and is pulling up to this shoulder. It's the same in the body. When you get a snag or myofascial restriction in your sweater, in your fascial system, over time it can create tension and pull into other areas of the fascia, causing pain and symptoms there. It doesn't happen overnight, but over years, yes, that can happen. You can start having pain in your low back and wake up one morning and go, what did I do? I've been fine in my low back and all of a sudden now I have pain. Well, it's not because you did anything specifically. It's just repetitive use, overuse, over time has finally created enough tension in the myofascial system, maybe in your hip where you're working now, that now it's created symptoms in another area. What does that mean? That means we want to work here. Here's the problem. Here's where you're feeling the pain. And that's why this is a little different than traditional therapies, because the problem causing your pain can very well be in a different area than where the pain is. And so as I'm here, what's happened for me, it's changed. I have a much deeper pull now, deep in my hip, and I also feel it just below the outside of my knee. So if you feel things changing, that's okay. You're starting to get a release in one area, and now you're feeling it in an area that's been tighter. So we're at the end of our 5 minutes. Slowly come out of your position. You're welcome to stay here longer. And as you come out, just kind of let your knee bend. Otherwise, you can continue going for the next 5-10 minutes and then come out slowly again. Thank you for showing up for yourself again today. I'm Mary Felling. Great to see you, and I'll see you on our next video.